to another episode of Beyond the Locker Room. I'm your host, Brian Tell. And this is part 2 of my discussion, I guess, of episode 9. The first part was regarding Tiger Woods and the Masters and the decision that the Masters Committee made on his shot on the 15th hole on the Friday, second round of the Masters. And now I'm going to get into the other big story happened over the weekend, the Kobe Bryant injury that happened Friday night against Golden State at home. At Staples Center, and it was he had a torn ACL, and at this point now he's had the surgery already in the recuperation mode. So they diagnosed it that it could take about 6 to 9 months for him to get back on the court. So you put that in perspective, you're looking at sometime at best somewhere in between, I guess, Christmas maybe in this case, best case scenario. It may be somewhere around Thanksgiving, or I guess, like I say, Canadian Thanksgiving. So sometime in October to maybe around Christmas time at best for him to get back on the court. Now, it seems like this is let me break this down a few ways. I'll go into the injury itself and can he come back, because I think it's quite obvious that knowing Kobe Bryant as fans do and how determined he is, I think all of us think there's no doubt he will be back on the court. So the question is, how fast do we think he can get back? What type of player will he be when he comes back? And will he be a Laker when he comes back, I guess, is the other aspects to look at. So let's start with the first part. 6 to 9 months, based on what I've heard already from a lot of different reporters and different prognosticators, that 6 to 9 months is being very ambitious. And the odds are more likely that this might take a year for him to get back. So, which means it would be pretty much the end of next season. And which means that will be the end of his contract at that point. So that's one, a year. I think is probably more likely. Maybe somewhere 6 months to a year. Maybe at the back end of next season, you might see a Kobe Bryant appear. That's my own thoughts about it, based on some of the people they mentioned with these injuries in the past. The technology is better than it was back then. Isaiah Thomas pretty much effectively ended his career with that. I think Dominique Wilkins had it, and he never was the same. Never had the same type of leaping ability after that injury. I think both of them were actually in their 30s as well too. So we'll see. I think in this case, Kobe's in better shape than they were at that time. Just looking at his performance and how he was proceeding for this year is arguably his best season ever. And then afterwards, you have to look at the age of the athlete as well too. And as well as the condition, which we mentioned before, I think 6 to 9 months might be a bit ambitious. It's probably more like 9 to 12 months, probably when it's all said and done. But we'll see. Hey, none of us, I'm not a doctor. None of us are, professionals, and no one knows what the human body's capable of. And then mix that with modern technology, what may happen. So I hope he gets back on the court before the year next season's out. I think part 2 of it is. Part 2 is how effective will he be? Well, I think that is the big question. What type of player will we see when he comes back? I don't think, I'll go out and say it, I'm not sure if we'll see the player that we saw this year ever again. I think he might be an effective player, but, maybe a guy might give you 18, 20 points a night, but I don't think he's going to be the guy we see scoring 30 a night and stuff like that. Those type of nights. I think those nights are done. I think this is a prideful position from Kobe Bryant. I think he wants to make sure that he ends on his own terms, not kind of coming off the court in a stretcher. I think he wants to walk off the court on his own power when it's all said and done to end his career. So I think whatever the case may be next year, if it's 8 points per game, 20 points a game, or 28 points a game, I think, that's the way he wants to end it. I think he'll be back, but I'm not sure he'll ever be that player again, that effective as a player. Part 3, I guess, of this, when it comes to Kobe's situation, at least this element of Kobe's situation, will he be in a Lakers uniform, which I guess is the big question. And I think the Lakers would be hard pressed to do the remove him. You hear talks of amnesty. I do not see the Lakers or Jim Buss amnestying Kobe Bryant. I think that will make all out war in Los Angeles. I think the players around the league will have to look at the Lakers in a very different light after that, if you treat a player of Kobe Bryant's stature and what all he's done for your franchise. I think sometimes, I know winning's everything, but I think sometimes there's some things of having loyalty to a player to some extent when you have a player of that type of caliber. That, you know, not kind of just put him up the pasture when it suits you. So I think that there has to be considered, and I think he will be, you know, back in a Lakers uniform next year. May renegotiate a contract or just leave it as is. I don't know, but I just see him being a Lakers uniform. I don't see an amnesty play happening at all. This leads to a little bit, you know, I'll bring up how this happened in this case. I mean, who's to say it could be wear and tear, or just natural wear and tear, or it could be something more. You have to start asking yourself about D'Antoni's practices when it comes to how he manages his talent. You know, Amari Stoudemire was running to the ground with the Knicks last year, and he hasn't been the same since. He's been pretty much, you know, hurt and on and off, you know, off the court pretty much for the last 18 months. So you have to ask yourself. Now you see the same thing here with Kobe Bryant, where he's playing full games at 48 minutes and playing 40-plus back-to-back games when you're at 34 years old. And you hear the excuses from folks saying, well, you know, it's Kobe, you know, no one tells Kobe what to do. Well, you know, Phil Jackson, Del Harris, you know, Mike Brown were all able to tell Kobe when to take a rest. So I don't see why all of a sudden now D'Antoni seems to have an issue with this. And, you know, he just has no control, no discipline, and it just shows throughout his teams, you know, and how players are breaking down. Look at Steve Nash, for example. Played up-tempo style still in Phoenix as of last year. And all of a sudden this year with D'Antoni, he's been on the DL now twice or three times now, I think. So you got to start wondering, like, you know, like, this guy is, like, you know, I'm not sure what type of coach he is. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any sort of defensive philosophy. His offensive philosophy is pretty much say, like, if you don't get the players that I need to run my system, I have no clue what to do with any of the players. So he doesn't seem to be able to adjust and be flexible with the talent he has. And then he seems to run guys into the ground. So I don't know. This might be D'Antoni's last stop in the league, but I don't know. In the NBA, guys have a way of resurrecting more so than Freddie. So we'll see how this plays out on the coaching front. You know, and then again, there's the economics of it. I mean, you know, they're paying him a bunch load of money. They're paying Mike Brown $5-6 million a year. I mean, between the two of them, it's going to be over $10 or $11 million between those two coaches. If you even bring in someone like a Phil Jackson, who's going to want $8, $9, $10 million, you could easily have $20 million worth of coaches, you know, dollars spent on coaches, and all that hits towards this luxury tax. So the Lakers might have to just be dealing with D'Antoni for a bit. Now, all this leads now to the second part, which I think is even more fascinating, is how does this affect Dwight Howard? Not even just now, but also in the free agency market. So let's start with the present. You know, right now as I'm recording this, you know, the Lakers playing tonight. They have their chance to kind of just, you know, win tonight. They're in the playoffs, and not only that, they get the 7th seed, so they avoid Oklahoma City, which I think is good for their part because OKC is a horrible matchup for the Lakers. But you know, the Spurs, you know, they beat them on Sunday night, and the Spurs right now are struggling down the finish line right now with injuries to Ginobili, which is starting to seem like you know, spring pastime or, you know, a spring tradition. It's like Easter and the Masters. You know, Ginobili getting hurt before the playoffs is pretty much a guarantee now. So that's another situation we'll talk about another time, maybe when we get the off season, about the Spurs kind of, like, you know, maybe breaking up that quote unquote their big three. But the Lakers, I think now with Dwight, definitely, you know, it's amazing how the psychology of this team has changed and how Dwight's psychology has changed since the injury. I'm not saying in this case he feels, you know, that he wants Kobe to get hurt. Not saying that at all, but he sure does enjoy, you know, having the spotlight to himself right now. I mean, I heard him today quoting, you know, doing parodies of 300, scenes of 300 today in the locker room, and the guys on the ESPN said, pretty much, you know, here's Hugh Douglas, who had a great line about Mamba Down. Did you ever think you would see, you know, there's no way if Kobe was in that locker room you would see that type of, you know, huckster joker mentality coming from Dwight Howard in a game of this importance. So he seems to be unbridled now and seems to be, you know, sowing his oats a little bit now, being the quote unquote the man in LA. And it'll be interesting to see how he produces, because right now, overall, true, it's only been one game so far, but he looked like the Dwight in Orlando with 26 and 17 on Sunday. And I mean, I expect him to get a heavy dose tonight with Houston not having much of a front court. You know, but the only thing is Houston has an up-tempo style very similar to how OKC is, and that matchup, that style of tempo usually works against LA. So it'll be interesting to see how these two styles clash tonight. I'm looking forward to the game. I think Dwight in the offseason, I think actually this kind of seals the deal that Dwight's going to be a Laker, because I think he sees the writing on the wall too. Even if Kobe does come back, there's no way anyone's going to look at Kobe and see he's going to be the top dog, even if Kobe wants to think so. I don't think physically he has it in him to be the top dog when he gets back. And by then, I think in this case, it'll be established quite firmly. This would be Dwight's team by the time he does return. So, changing of the guard happening before eyes in Los Angeles. It is fascinating to watch the psychology around it of how big the Kobe aura is in Los Angeles, and how it seems like it's lifted a weight off of Dwight's shoulders to be, I guess, the player he is. I mean, he's just not going to be a serious, brooding type of player like Kobe is. He's the antithesis of that. He's a guy that likes to joke around. Maybe not take things that seriously, or at least how he expresses it is very differently than maybe what Kobe Bryant would or Michael Jordan would. So let's see how the experiment continues. I must admit, maybe I'm just a sucker for pain and a sucker for pain, but I kind of want to see the Lakers get in the playoffs, because I'm now interested to see how far this team would go, under a Dwight regime. So let's see how this goes tonight. And and for all you Laker fans, crying about Kobe being injured, he'll be back. And I think this. I don't think his career is over at this point. I think right now it's just the last phase we're coming to, and it was gonna, in this case, it was gonna happen anyhow next year. I think he did throw out the bubble, throw out the thought bubble about maybe he could play 5 more years, or just a few weeks ago. But I think those days are, those days I think might be done of him thinking even of that. I think next year, or at least the year after, but definitely I think next year we're going to have a very firm decision on Kobe Bryant's career and his future. Once again, the association is never dull. I'm looking forward to the playoffs, so check out my playoff preview later this week. Take care and be safe out there. Bye.